Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Soul Whisperer podcast. I'm your host, Jen Sui, and if you're new here, welcome. I am an intuitive tarot practitioner, certified hypnotherapist, as well as a life coach, and my work surrounds connecting people back to their soul, aka their source of unconditional love, whether that is through hypnosis and in clearing their old traumas and their old habits, or through a tarot reading to help them see what the next best step is for them. All of my work combines spirituality as well as pragmatic guidance so that you have a clear direction of how to move forward into the life that is most meaningful to you. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to take you through a crash course on tarot, which is pretty crazy that I haven't done this before because tarot has made up the majority of my work over the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, I have read for over 1,700 people. I have had the pleasure of sitting down with people in some of their darkest, deepest, most vulnerable times, as well as some of the most joyful times. And one thing holds true with all of them, and it is that life is constantly changing, and we are not as unique as we think we are. The way that this comes through is understanding that the only constant is change. And tarot is an incredible tool to help you through those transition moments, to help you make decisions that are in alignment with you. And in the case of understanding that we're all not that unique, tarot is a really beautiful way to show you that your experience has been mirrored throughout humanity since the dawn of time. Your challenges, the questions that you have, the obstacles that you are facing, you are not alone in them. And if you're not alone with them, that means that there has been wisdom passed down from them. That means that there has always been solutions. That means that nothing has actually gone wrong. Oftentimes we get in our heads about whether or not some phase that we're in is actually valid or not, if we're doing something wrong, if we're behind, if we're, uniquely fucked up in some way. And I feel like tarot is a really beautiful way to show you no, nothing has gone wrong. Even if you feel like the floor has fallen beneath you, nothing has gone wrong. This is actually all part of the plan, and there is a way forward. So let me take you through tarot today in a very foundational way. Part of the reason why I want to do this is because I have an upcoming course, live in-person event called Tarot and Twilight that I'm really excited about. And this came up because every hoa season, every fall season, I rewatch the entire Twilight series. And it's just something that feels very comforting for me. The movies feel like sisterhood. It reminds me a lot of my sister because she was the one who introduced me to it. I thought it was really dumb at first. And she also was like the person that I went to go watch all these movies with right before she went off to college. So it has this very sentimental memory to me. But it also, has this energy that is hard to explain until you've actually experienced it yourself. There's a reason why it's resonated with so many people, right? It's sold over 160 million copies. It's done $3.3 billion in box offices. There's a reason for that. And any time a piece of media has resonated with so many people, it really goes to show you that it has to be reflective of something very true in humanity. It is reflective of something that we experience in our day-to-day lives, and it also speaks to our soul on a way. So in this workshop, I will be guiding people through a very immersive journey, learning the tarot through the lens of Twilight, but also in a way that is applicable to your own relationships, your career, your health, your well-being, your spirituality, all so that you can walk away with feeling more confident as an intuitive tarot reader for yourself. Now, more on that's going to come later, but if that's piquing your interest, just know that the registration is open and early bird registration ends on September 1st. So with this episode today, I am going to guide you through kind of a top level overview of what tarot is, how you can start understanding it, understanding the lessons of it, and really use it as a mirror for your personal experience, because that is the foundations of the way I teach it personally. Tarot has been used as a fortune telling and divination tool for sure, but to me, the core of it is that it reflects back to you your truth. It reflects back to you your soul essence. Whenever I sit down with somebody and they are getting their first tarot reading, which is a lot of people, I read for a lot of firsts, what I always tell them is that I am rereading the energetic undercurrent of your current reality, meaning whatever you are going through right now, it is not about the situation itself. It is not about the job offer that you have. It's not about the person that you're seeing. It's not about your current state of your well-being. what I'm reading with the energetic undercurrent is going to show me the frequency that you're in, the thoughts and the beliefs that you are, swimming in. And it is also going to show me what that is going to, what it needs, right? What your energy needs. I can also see where you're being guided, both in the direction of, if you were to continue this is what's going to happen. And also, if you wanted to change this based off of what you're telling me you want instead, this is how you're going to get there. So, for example, when I was doing Lionsgate readings, one of the things that would always show up is, how does abundance want to come through? And when we think about abundance, oftentimes our minds, our conscious minds, wants to think of it in one specific way, whether that is just purely money, financial, and career opportunities, or abundance in health, for example. But we oftentimes are very conditioned in what does abundance look like. Tarot is one of those tools that really helps you get out of your own way and opens you up to what else is possible. It's something that doesn't lock you into one reality. It actually opens up what your free will is able to create, because it shows you your blind spots. It shows you energetically what you can be in alignment for. So whenever I did these readings and I would see, okay, abundance is going to come to you through the form of relationships. Abundance is going to come to you through the form of time and through the gift of space. Abundance is going to come to you through the form of creativity, of inspiration, so that you right now, even though you feel stuck, guess what? You're not a victim to that, because the universe is giving you an abundance of ideas, an abundance of creativity, an abundance of motivation, and perhaps even an abundance of, negative feelings where you're overwhelmed because you just are so over what it is that you are in right now. You just want to get out of it. That's all a gift and all a blessing to help guide you out of your situation. And that is how abundance is going to come to you. So before we even get into this course on how to start reading and understanding tarot, I need you to understand that you are guided by the stars, but you are not controlled by them. Anything that you use, whether it's tarot, human design, or astrology, you are not being told what to do. You are not being told who it is that you are. You are not being told this is just how it is. You are being shown a map, and then it is up to your free will to use that how you want. You will always have your free will honored by spirit, by the universe. That being said, that doesn't mean that every single use of free will is a good one. So one of the ways that you can be supported in your journey and not feel so overwhelmed by having to know exactly how something's going to turn out and death grip, the how, the process, and allow yourself to feel a lot more easeful and peaceful in your human experience, is going to be to collaborate with the universe, collaborate with your soul. This is the marriage between being guided and then also having your free will. You allow both to exist in order to create the best outcome for yourself based off of where you're at and what is available to you right now. I also want to make an important note here, which is that there is no part of tarot that is demonic. There is no part of it that is bad. There's no part of it that is any less sacred or any less mundane than the Bible. And I say this because the Bible, to me, for example, is just a book. It's just a book of words. It's been rewritten so many times in history. And that doesn't mean that there's no reverence to it, because I understand that it is a sacred object, but anything that is man-made to me is does not really hold much power. It's about the power that you prescribe to it. It's about what you feel when you read it, right? It's about what it can inspire within you, because if you are religious, which I am not, but I will just tell you, that idea of we are made in the image of God, right, really just shows you that we all have spirit within us. We all have that godlike, that goddess energy within us. We all have the universe literally in our veins. It's the idea that we are made from stardust. And so if that is true, all of these objects are just there to help awaken that in you. So the same thing goes for tarot. If you are watching this, chances are you're interested in tarot. You want to use this tool. You are curious about how this tool can support you. And it's the same thing where the power is not in the cards, it is in you. It is in how you are going to relate to it. It's about what it can inspire in you. It's about your relationship with it. So in any relationship, you are going to be cultivating this day by day, week by week, year by year. And the more that you actually allow yourself to see this as a relationship, as something that's dynamic instead of something that's static, like there's 78 cards and there's 78 meanings and it's all prescribed, the easier it is for you to be able to actually read the cards and actually interpret them accurately as well as intuitively. Another way you can look at this if you're skeptical of tarot, but you're so curious, which is why you're here, is to look at it like the Rorschach test in psychology. The Rorschach test is an ink blob test, and it is a way to see what your subconscious is thinking by projecting it onto something mundane like an ink blob. So if the ink blob looks dark and scary to you, it might show to you that you have these fears, right? But if the ink blob looks like a happy cloud, that can also reflect back to you what your current emotional state is. So tarot can act as that as well to you. Now, personally, I have a more sacred relationship with the cards, with the deck. I connect to it very intuitively. It's just very effortless for me to be able to read and get messages. And one of the ways that it shows up for me is that it takes me out of just me. It takes me out of just my subconscious and actually connects me to what I feel is source. So this is where things start to get more spiritual, right? And it becomes a divination tool for me. Now, a divination tool is anything that is helping you to connect with the divine, and whatever is divine to you, whether that is God, whether that's the universe, whether that is nature, whether that is some collective, cosmic consciousness that you find is bigger than yourself. That is what this is. When you're using this as a divination tool, something that you want to be aware of is, where is your current energy when you go to reach for it? It's different when you're using tarot as like something for entertainment or something as just like a way to wake up your brain into a different idea, right? If you're using it like a journal prompt, for example, you don't really have to have that much intention when you're shuffling and pulling cards, but when you use it in a way to connect with a wisdom that is beyond you, in a consciousness that is beyond you, or in my case, helping connect to other people's energies and help guide them in their journey, then you need to be very aware of where your energy is at, making sure that it is clear and that you can discern accurately what is coming up. This is going to look like learning how to manage your energy and also being able to protect your energy. I want to create an entire episode just on energy management because it is a foundational life skill that I feel like I learned way too late in life and is incredibly helpful, especially if you're going to start your spiritual journey. That being said, I teach it in all of my tarot courses, so if you're interested, make sure you check that out. All of this to say, before you even start using tarot, get clear on why you want to use it. What is your intention with it? What is your purpose with it? Now, if you're questioning at all whether or not you should be using tarot, just know that this is actually a tool for everyone. Tarot has touched the hands of multiple countries and multiple cultures, including China and Islamic countries. It also has elements of the Kabbalah baked within it that, even though this is a tool that has historically been seen as something that was created from Renaissance Italy, the previous versions before tarot really became tarot even started in China. And it started as a tile card game that people would use. Just like how in Chinese culture we have mahjong, which uses these tiles and as a game to play. And just like how mahjong is a game, this was really just seen as a game. It wasn't really used for divination yet, but during the Tang Dynasty, they had these tiles that had more mythology on them and symbols that were a game to play. It also touched the hand of Korean shamans, where instead of it being tiles or playing card games, they were actually silk pieces with 8 different suits. And this was under the Silla Kingdom, where it was put on arrows as a way to kind of divine fortunes and help with war and try to like predict what's going to happen. Then it also moved into Islamic societies as well as Egypt, and this was where playing cards started to form and the 4 suits started to form. Then it moved into Europe in the 1300s or like 1400s, 1370, so 1400s. And this is when Renaissance Italy in 1440, this is where that classic Rider-Waite imagery started to form. And funny enough, and I say funny because I have only had a couple people who have really adamantly hated me because I use tarot because they see this as a demonic thing and they're all always Christian. Really funny enough, the only people who were actually really using tarot were people who were part of the Christian church and people who read for noblemen. It was like a very elitist thing actually to use. And tarot is reflective of a lot of Christian imagery. When you look at the Rider-Waite, like there's churches in the background, there's kind of this idea of God when you look at like the judgment card, or when you look at justice and like this weighing of scales. Even in the Hierophant, this is a very like priesty card. So it's funny that they hate on this so much, or there are people who hate on it so much, because there's actually a lot of Christian imagery reflected in it. And then we go into the French and English occultists who started to use this in like the 1700s, and this is where divination started to really show up, and them being able to, try to use it as like a fortune telling tool as well. There are quite a few different types of tarot, actually not too many. There's like the Trough Tarot, there's the Rider-Waite Tarot, and there's the Marcel Tarot, which is more of the Hermetic and Kabbalah imagery for it. But yeah, this is a quick rundown on the history. If you want to learn more, this is really sourced from the book Holistic Tarot by Annabelle Wen. Amazing resource. I have not finished the book yet because it is literally a tome, but this is where this information has come from. Now, in order to understand tarot, you have to first understand how it's formatted. So tarot is a 78 card deck that's broken down into 3 categories. You have the major arcana, the minor arcana, and the core cards. The major arcana is the first 22 cards of the deck from numbers 0 to 21, and they're all going to be written in Roman numerals. These are kind of like the big overarching life themes, not so much the day-to-day life. The day-to-day life is going to come into the 40 minor arcana cards, and the minor arcana cards, or the pip cards, are going to be broken down into 4 suits, just like how a playing card is. You have the pentacles, you have the cups, you have the wands, and you have the swords. Those are all going to have different elements associated with them, and they're going to be reflective of your day-to-day life. Then you have your 16 core cards, and the core cards are going to be the archetypes. This is going to be like your Jack, King, Queen. There's going to be 4 of these. There's a page, a knight, a queen, and a king, and that's going to be in all 4 suits. So that's going to be how your 78 card deck is formatted. In tarot, you might have heard of the Fool's Journey, and the Fool's Journey is essentially from the Fool, aka card number 0, where this is the beginning of life. This is you going on a completely new journey. This is you having just been born. This is the start of the hero's journey, essentially, except it's called the Fool's Journey because you know nothing. You are a novice. You are full of potential, but you have not actually accomplished anything in your life, and you know nothing. So it is the Fool. It's really funny. In the actual tarot card, you can see the imagery of him like having a little sack on his back, and he's so happy, but he's literally about to fall off of a cliff, which is really funny. And in older decks, what you'll see, such as like the Marcel deck, it's actually like a jester who's being like bitten by a dog and like has his pants ripped and his like butt is falling out. And that's really funny because when you look at the history of tarot and how the Fool card came to be, it actually shows the story of not somebody who started a new journey just because they wanted to, but actually because they were ostracized from society. They were so different, so weird, that they were ostracized by society and had to like go out. And that is why this Fool's Journey started. Now, the major arcana is the soul's lessons. It's going to be those umbrella things of like what's going to happen. So for example, when you look at how the Fool's Journey starts, you get the Magician, which is all about you being able to feel empowered in yourself, you knowing that everything that you need is within you already, that you can create whatever it is that you want. And when you look at the imagery, it is this person who is holding like one hand to the sky, one hand to the earth, kind of symbolizing this connection to heaven and earth. And it has all of the tools, the pentacles, the swords, the knight, the wands and the cups, like all just laid out in front of him. And it's this idea that when you are connected to your own personal power, that you have the power to create. That is literally the Magician. It is you being able to use your voice, your skills, your ability to figure things out in order to manifest the life that you want. That is where the Magician comes in. Now, at the end of the tarot of the major arcana, at number 21, you'll see the world. And the world is symbolized by what looks like the magician in the first card, except they're kind of floating in the middle. Like they're floating up in air, and all of the elements are surrounding them. They have kind of like had this fulfillment of they've gone through the entire journey. Now they've learned everything. They have the wisdom, they have the experience, and now they get to choose where they want to go next. And that's where it resets to the Fool again, right? So in life, you're going through this journey, not necessarily linearly, but then also not just one time. You're constantly becoming a beginner again. You're constantly creating fulfillment and then learning that there's something else beyond that. And I think one of the beautiful things about tarot is that it teaches you that there's no binaries in life. There's no just good or just bad. And there's also not just one way of doing things. There's not just this hierarchy of goals. There's not this ladder that you climb. Life is a cyclical experience, and that can help you quell a lot of uncertainty and a lot of anxiety in your life so that you can create more peace in your day-to-day existence. Now, the 16 core cards are going to be indicative of the different archetypes of your life. This can be reflective of yourself. This can be reflective of other people in your life. This can be reflective of people who are going to come into your life. So when you're reading the cards, these archetypes are going to range from youthful to mature, aka the pages and the knights are youthful, and then the king and the queen are mature. And it's also going to range from masculine to feminine. And so the masculine cards are going to be the knight and the king, and the feminine are going to be the page and the queen. Now, remember, with this is not about binaries. This is not about being a man or being a woman. It's not about femininity and masculinity as like the way that it's presented. It's energetics, which means you have it all within you, right? It's the yin and the yang. It's the whole spectrum of things. So when you dive into the archetypes, what you're diving really into is a reflection of who it is that you are, who you are embodying, what you are projecting out into the world, and it can also show you what you need to work on. So let's say that you are in a very youthful energy most of the time. You're kind of like just figuring things out. You're kind of bumbling around like the page, where you're just like, okay, I have this idea, but I don't really know what to do with it. Or you're in the night energy of like, you know, kind of like what you're fighting for, and you're like in the go, go, go of it all, but you haven't really gotten to where you want to be yet. Like, that transition from that youthful energy to the mature energy is going to come with the practice and discernment of being able to have structure, which is more of that king energy, right? That more masculine, boundaried, clear, and personal like accountability that is going to help guide you into that more maturing process. It can also be the queen energy of being very intuitive and very clear in your conscious, being able to have a clear vision. And again, same thing with like having boundaries, but this is going to be like energetic boundaries, emotional boundaries. This is going to be creative boundaries, like knowing what it is that you are, you know, birthing into the world. That is going to be more of that queen energy. So that's going to be how you can see yourself maturing through that process, and also see maybe what it is that you're needing in order to actually manifest the goal that you have. Because there are these 4 archetypes in every single suit, you also need to understand how the suits work so that you can get the full meaning of it. Every single suit is going to have a different element associated with them. Now let's break down the 4 different suits that exist in the minor arcana as well as the core cards, starting with the pentacles. The pentacles is all about earth energy. This is anything that happens in the physical world, the material world. This is going to be things like for your finances, your stability, your sense of stability, anything that is about the structure of relationships or the structure of your day-to-day life. Moving from that, you go into the wands, and the wands is a creative, intuitive, sparky energy that's all about passion, excitement. It's about what's driving you, what's motivating you, what's going to help drive you in your life, and that's going to be associated with the element of fire. Then you move into the swords energy, and the swords are a suit that is very chaotic, very conflict driven, and it is about the mind. It is associated with the element of air. So in this suit, you're going to see a lot about what is going on in your thoughts, the idea of perceptions being broken, being rebuilt, and even having feelings of being trapped into even death, because there is so much that is going on in the mind. Now we end with the suit of cups, and the suit of cups is all about emotion. It's about love. It's about all the feelings, and you kind of see this journey of having something awaken within your heart and letting that open up and flourish, and still understanding that even in the best relationships, you're still going to have conflict. You're still going to have to make choices. You're still going to experience grief. But being open in your heart is going to be what allows you to experience true fulfillment and feeling like you have it all in life. When you combine your knowledge of these 4 different suits and these elements and your knowledge of these different archetypes that you see in the court cards, that's going to give you a much richer picture of what the cards are trying to tell you, how it's trying to guide you, where you need to go, what it is that you need, how to move forward, and what energy to bring to the table to bring forth in your career, in your relationships, in your day-to-day life in order for you to succeed. Another way that tarot has really changed my life is showing me how frequently the lessons, the themes, and the archetypes of tarot shows up in day-to-day life and shows up in media. You will never relate to life, to other people, or to media the same way once you understand tarot, and in the best way possible. One of the things I'm really excited about in Tarot and Twilight is to show people how the story of tarot maps onto the story of Twilight. Because when you can see it mirrored in a story that you know so well, you start to see these lessons, these themes, these archetypes in your own personal life and in everything else. So it really changes the way that you relate to a story, and it also allows you to kind of step into being able to receive these lessons and these ideas, this wisdom, without you having to live it yourself because you've seen it in this other person, in this other character. Now, I've already been sharing this in newsletters about tarot and Twilight, but one of the ways you can so clearly see the tarot show up in this Twilight saga is literally through Bella's evolution. She starts as this clumsy, kind of new, like doesn't know anything about this whole other world of vampires and all this stuff. She moves to a new city, like literally the fool's journey starting, and then gets into, at the end, being everything that she wants, right? She gets to be with Edward, who she's always wanted to be with. Like, that's all that she wanted. She wanted to be a vampire so that she could be with him forever. She gets that. She gets to even keep her friends, and like Jacob, even though she's a vampire now. She gets to keep her relationship with Charlie, even though she thought that she would have to say goodbye because now she's a vampire. She even gets to have a kid that like shouldn't have existed but does exist. And she like escapes from the wrath of the Red Volturi and gets to just like live peacefully for as far as we know. At the end of the entire series. So you literally see this whole character arc, and there's so many points in her journey where she has to learn these lessons that are conveyed in the major arcana. And in the day-to-day life, like if you were to read the books or you kind of pick apart the little scenes from the movie, you also see the lessons that she's learning in her day-to-day life show up in the minor arcana. Now, obviously, this applies to any book or movie series, but if you were to break down Twilight's characters and look at them individually and see their story arc throughout the series, you also see the transition of them in the different court cards. For example, with Jacob, he was very much so Page of Cups energy at the beginning, so kind of like this lover boy energy, like Knight of Cups energy, where he was just like really wanting Bella, but was also playful, very youthful. And then at the end of it, he is very like King of Wands energy, very passionate, like has come away from the pack and is like the leader of his pack now because he really believes in the way that he wants to live his life, which is to be able to, one, be with Renesmee, who's half vampire, half human, which should not be allowed, but is willing to stand up for that, has strong boundaries, and is very clear about, you know, who he is and what, you know, he wants in this world. Okay, so now that you've understood the story of the major arcana, the story of the minor arcana, the different suits, as well as the court cards, now we can get into how to actually start piecing this together to understand how to read. Now, notice that I haven't actually taken you through the individual card meanings because that doesn't matter when you're first starting to read. You can memorize the little booklet if you want, but I actually would prefer, if when you're starting to read, if you know nothing, to not even look at the book. Just look at what comes up for you and go from there, because more often than not, one, you're going to get to the meaning of the card without even having to look at the definition of it. And two, this allows you to actually have a very clean relationship where it is just you and the cards. It is just you and spirit being able to communicate. And when you have the foundations of what I just taught you, of like these different elements and what they can mean, the different archetypes that you see, and the different understandings of the lessons, because the major arcana is going to just show you like judgment, for example. You don't need a definition of the card to understand like, okay, this is about judgment, like either literal judgment or some type of divine judgment, because when you look at the imagery, there's other things there to clue you into what it's trying to convey. So this moves into how to actually start to read the cards. The first thing is obviously symbolism. Actually looking at the imagery and picking it apart to see what stands out to you and what you might have missed. The more times you look at a card, the more you're going to see that it's going to convey different things to you. You're going to notice the background versus the foreground. You're going to notice a symbol that maybe you missed the first time around. And for different questions and in different aspects of your life too, when you ask the question, different elements of the card might pop out to you and might speak to you more, which can clue you into what the message is trying to convey to you. The other thing you're going to look at is numerology. Now, when you understand numerology, this is going to open up another world to you. So numerology is the study of numbers, and it is like understanding that with different numbers comes different lessons, frequencies, ideas, messages, and numbers hold codes, essentially. Now, if you haven't been taking notes, I definitely recommend getting it out now so that you can write down numerologically like what certain numbers mean so that you have a quick reference guide to this. So taking you through number 1, this is going to be an initiatory energy. This is about the start of something new. This is the beginning. This is like an idea forming. Number 2 is about choice, and this is about polarity as well. So number 2 is about like yin, yang, masculine, feminine, right? This is like two sides of the coin. This is kind of like also the start of a creationary process. Number 3 is actually the creation itself. It is like, I think in Christianity, it's like what, Father, Son, Spirit, something like that. I also see it as like also the mind, body, and spirit. Like you start to see things in 3s oftentimes coming from, and this is about growth. Now, number 4 is a very stable energy. I think of like literally a square. I don't know why, but it's like a very stable form. This is also about celebration. This is about the idea that came into formation actually starting to form and materialize. Number 5 is about change and crisis and transition. This is like grief. This is like when things don't go your way. This is like where things start to take a turn. And then number 6 is the calm that comes after the storm. So this is always seen as like balance, as peace, as harmony. Number 7 is going to be associated with spirituality. 777 is like a very like quote lucky number in Western culture, right? And 7 is associated with spirituality. It's associated with magic. It's associated with kind of needing to kind of connect deeper within yourself. Number 8 is all about abundance. So in Chinese culture, 8 is a very abundant number. It's the infinity symbol, but on its side. So it's kind of like this limitlessness, this potential that's always flowing through us. It's about diligence. It's about all of this energy moving. Number 9 is about completion. So this is like the last number that comes before the transition of number 10. 9 is about tying up loose ends, ending old cycles. This is about completion, so that when you hit that 10, the 10 is like the transition number. 10 I always see as kind of like a breath of air, where when you inhale, at the end of the inhale you have like a pause, and then you have an exhale, and at the end of the exhale you have a pause. And if you don't have that pause, you're hyperventilating, and if you're paused for too long, you're gonna pass out. So number 10 is that transition of remembering how important that pause is in between, but that there has to be kind of like the right length of time there. Now, when it comes to reading tarot, you're probably going to run into master numbers as well as angel numbers. Master numbers are going to be numbers 11, 22, and 33. Angel numbers are going to be any 3 individual numbers repeated together. So the master numbers are said to have very potent energy. It is the number itself, but almost to an exponential power. So when you think about the number 11 and the number 1 being this initiatory intuitive energy, the number 11 is believed to carry this energy of heightened intuition, of this kind of divine inspiration where it is the beginning of everything. And with the master numbers, because 11, 22, 33, these are all going to be 11 apart from each other, it is also the energy that kind of holds everything together. It's like the way to leap forward from master number to master number is by following that intuition. Now, number 22 is about divine building, right? That creation force of like 2 things coming together. So especially in relationship readings or in any career or business readings, like this can indicate partnership coming together, and that's what that number 22 is going to be. It's known as the master builder number. Now, number 33, this is also going to be known as the master teacher number, and this is that, like, it has come into full form, right? This is like kind of the end of the master numbers. It is that growth of having gone through that building process of following your intuition, and now like being in a place where this is something that is like trying to teach you something, or it can also be indicative of you being ready to teach something. I will say this, numerology is a rabbit hole in it of itself. It is literally like a specialization that you can have as well. As a reader, as a psychic, you can be somebody who specializes in just using numerology and life path numbers, karmic numbers, all of these things in order to help guide people and guide yourself. So just know that if this is something that you are like intrigued by, you want to go deeper into, let yourself lean into that curiosity and go deeper into numerology, because there's probably something there where it's going to be the tool that you use most to get access to your intuition and to lead yourself. When it comes to your spiritual journey, I'm a big believer in you following your curiosity, because when you're following your curiosity, when you're following your highest excitement, that is like spirit talking through you. There's genuinely nothing that you can lose by following your excitement, by following that intuitive pull to something, because you're gonna learn something. You're gonna learn that either it is like for you, it's not for you. You're going to learn something about your own decision making. You're going to actually learn something by reading that book or taking that course or going to that place. So I'm a big believer in like following that curiosity and being able to build that trust with yourself that everything's going to be okay, that you're good to make those decisions on your own. And that to me is like the most spiritual thing that you can do, is really trust yourself to make the decisions that you genuinely want to make and know that you're going to be okay no matter what. Now, the last thing I'm going to teach you in this crash course of tarot is spreads. How do you actually go about and choose your spread? Well, number one, make sure you always shuffle your cards. You have to shuffle your cards with intention in order to actually get an accurate reading. I don't know who is doing this, but I have heard that a lot of like people on TikTok, for whatever reason, are like not even shuffling their cards, and they'll just flip and be like yes, no cards and whatever. I have a lot of opinions on the whole psychic, intuitive realm of professionals and what even is a professional. But when it comes to you learning tarot, let me just tell you, you need to be shuffling your cards, and ideally with intention. And when I say intention, this can be both energetic / like emotional intention, and also with an actual question in mind. Now, as a reminder, when you're using tarot as a divination tool, meaning you are using it to connect with the divine, with an energy outside of you, with a purpose outside of you, with the cosmic consciousness outside of you that is bigger than you, you need to raise your frequency in order to be able to operate at that level and actually receive the truth. So the ways that you're going to raise your frequency, raise your vibration, so that you're getting this good, juicy information, and it's not just an ego projection, it's not just something that's in your subconscious that you're pulling out and being like, oh, this is reflecting back to me all of my fears and whatever, instead of getting the actual like tangible steps of how to move forward and what it is that you're genuinely wanting to build, is going to be coming from you clearing your energy, you setting the intention of what you're doing when you're connecting to the cards and what question you actually want to ask. The most important part of a tarot reading is the question that you ask. It is not the cards that get pulled. It is not the meaning of the cards. It is the question that you ask, because that in itself is going to tell you so much. I can tell where a person is at just by the question that they ask. For example, if somebody sits down with me and asks me why this person that they dated broke up with them, that tells me that they are more concerned about what the other person thinks, and they're like sticking their hands in the other person's business to try to understand the situation, because they're having difficulty accepting it within themselves and being able to move on with themselves. Now, that being said, I understand it's very human to grieve a connection that's been broken, or to grieve a loss, or to be confused about why somebody did what they did, because it doesn't match up with the story that you have told yourself. That being said, this takes you out of your own power. So like I said, tarot is an energetic tool to show you what is going on in your energetic undercurrent. So if your energy is like, power is outside of me, I'm so confused, I don't know what's going on because I don't know what this person is thinking, you are outsourcing your power and the way that you feel to this person. And until you understand what it is that they're experiencing, you cannot feel good in yourself. That is not a way to live, and that is not something that's going to bring you peace. Now, when you're working with a practitioner like me, I'm going to help you reframe that question. And I'm going to help you reframe that question because, one, I'm not going to answer that question because you don't actually know what that person is thinking. Two, you don't know if it's going to be accurate. And even if you were to go and like talk to that person, what they tell you could also like not be the truth because they haven't met themselves with honesty, or they are lying to you. Like, there's just nothing good is going to come out of you trying so hard to figure out what somebody else thinks of you or why somebody else did what they did. All you can control is how you're going to respond to that situation and how do you feel. Like, be honest with yourself and what do you want? What are you going to do with it? So that's one of the reasons why I would not answer that question. And the other thing is that again, like, I'm all about self-sovereignty and you being able to center back into your own soul, your source of unconditional love, your truth. So the way that I would help them reframe that question is by understanding, okay, what is the lesson that you were meant to learn from this? For example, if you understand the lesson that you were meant to learn in this relationship with somebody, that can help you close that chapter. And the lesson doesn't always have to be like something profound that you need to work on and now is like something that you're obsessed with in personal development. Because one of the things that I see show up is that we get so obsessed with like, oh, I had to learn something in this relationship and that's why I'm going through this pain. But sometimes you're actually supposed to be the lesson for the other person, and there's nothing actually that you needed to learn from that other than the fact that you can just let things go. And it's just that simple because you were just there to help accelerate their growth, and your lesson in that is to be able to move on with grace afterwards. Like, it can literally be as simple as that. So when you're reading for yourself, being able to get clear on the question that you were asking and why you were asking that is going to really color the entire reading and the information that you get. One of the ways that you'll know that your energy is clear and that you are in this channel to be able to read and pull cards is that you will feel yourself unattached from the result. And this doesn't mean that you are disconnected from yourself or from the situation. It doesn't mean that you're not hurting or that you're not stressed or overwhelmed. It just means that because you have found this like connection with source and you are open to the truth, you're open to just receiving the information, you're not attached to the answer having to look a certain way, you're not stressed about like, how to get to a certain place, you are just allowing yourself to receive information. So that is going to be a clear sign that now you're ready to actually ask a question and pull a card. The other thing that you'll notice is that when you actually go to ask the question, maybe originally you sat down to pull some cards because you're really stressed about your career and you don't know what direction to go and you have so many different ideas and it's really stressing you out. You feel all this pressure. But when you actually sit down, meditate, burn your incense, do whatever it is that you need to do in order to change your energy so that you are in a good headspace to read, what you'll notice is that the original question of like, what should I do, completely changes. It completely changes because now you're out of that frequency of stress, of overwhelm, of like, pressure and this ego attachment to have to make the right decision and that there has to be like one decision that is right. And you'll feel this peace and this openness of like, okay, let me just see. And then you'll notice that the question isn't going to be like, what should I do? It's going to be, for example, like, what is the fears that are blocking me right now? It's going to be, what is the direction that my soul is guiding me towards? It's going to be, what is the next best step that I can take? What is, what is blocking me unconsciously that I'm not aware of, but that I'm ready to face now? What is it that is in my highest path that I need to know? Like, it can be those questions. It can also be like, what is it that I truly feel about this specific path? And you can pull a card for each one of those paths that you're thinking about. Like for me, like I can pull a card for if I'm thinking about going to grad school. I can pull a card for if I'm thinking about moving to a different country. I can pull a card for, a specific offer that I want to launch. And I can ask the cards not like, what should I do? Like, is this the right decision for me? But what is my genuine feeling towards this path? Is it something that I genuinely want to do? Like, show me what my soul actually feels about this thing. And that can reveal to you the truth so that you can actually make the decision of how to move forward from there. Now, I just took you through how to question craft so that you can actually start pulling spreads. So let's talk about the spreads. I'm just going to share some very simple, basic ones with you today. Do not worry about the Celtic cross. If you have heard about the Celtic cross and how like this is the spread that you need to learn, or like this is the thing that professionals use, I never have once used a Celtic cross in a professional tarot reading, and I do not plan on it. Okay, you do not need to know the Celtic cross. I do not care about the Celtic cross. It is too many cards personally, even to like process in one sitting. So do not worry about the Celtic cross. In fact, I am such a believer in simplicity when it comes to pulling cards. So if you just want to do 1 card spreads, that's great, but I'm just going to teach you today 1, 2, and 3 card spreads. So a 1 card spread is also called a 1 card pull because it's not really a spread, it's just 1 card. And the 1 card is going to be a yes or no question. It can be a like just what is it that you need to know today. It can be a what's outside of your awareness that you need to know. It can be what is the thing that's blocking you. It can be what is the direction that I want to take today. It can be a journaling prompt question. Like that is what a 1 card spread is oftentimes used for. It's just one and done, very clear. You don't have to overthink it. A 2 card spread can show you like 2 sides of the same coin, for example. It can show you 2 different outcomes of a situation. It can show you when it's like vertical. This is how I will pull for what is affecting you consciously, what is affecting you subconsciously. It can also show you like what your current energy is and what's blocking you, for example. So one of the practices that you want to get into is before you pull any additional cards, ask the cards where your current energy is at, or if you're reading for somebody else or you are reading about a specific person, it's like, what is the energy this is embodying, right? If you're asking about your career or a relationship, what is the energy of the career right now? What is the energy of the relationship right now? That can be its own card in itself. To me, this is like a temperature gauge, and it also helps you understand if the reading itself is actually going to be accurate, because if the card that you pull is not reflective of your current situation, how you feel, or the person that's sitting, with you, then like I know that that's not accurate. Now, I will say like this pretty much does not happen ever for in a professional reading. It has happened for me when I read for myself if my energy isn't fully clear or if I'm still attached. So that tells me that I still need to do some stuff to clear out my energy so that I can see things accurately. This is really also going to be a practice of discernment, of intuition for you, of whether or not this is reflective. It's like, does this resonate? Does this not resonate? That is your gauge. And just in general, does this resonate? Does this not resonate? Is going to be a really great gauge for you, especially living as an intuitive or on your spiritual journey, because the deeper that you go in your own personal development, in your own healing, and in your own spirituality, you're going to learn time and time again that there is no such thing as good or bad. There is no such thing as right or wrong. Nothing is black or white. Nothing is binary. So for you, the better question to ask is, does this resonate? Does this not resonate? That is going to be a much more helpful tool for you. And even that binary, quote unquote binary, of like helpful or not helpful, that's going to help take you a lot further in your journey and help you make better decisions for yourself than, is this good? Is this bad? Is this right? Is this wrong? So for example, with this 2 card spread here, it could be like, where's your current energy and what is the energy that you're being guided towards? And you can expand that into a 3 card spread. And this is the one that I personally use most often for readings, whether it's for myself or for clients. It's going to be where you're currently at, where is your energy being guided towards, and then how can you get there? So you can pull it in different orders, in different placements. Personally, the placement of the card matters to me to be able to actually get accurate information, because you're going to have either a different question or different intention for each card, each position, to help guide that reading. So you're oftentimes not going to be pulling 3 cards in a row for the same question. You want to pull like 1 card for 1 question or 1 aspect of the question that you have, so that you can actually get the information more clearly. If you're just pulling like multiple cards for 1 question, you can do it that way and just interpret it. There's like not like a wrong way to do it, obviously, but for me, that just doesn't resonate, because then I will overthink about, okay, well, like, what is this card supposed to mean about this situation? Or like, does this represent this person, or does this represent that person? Like, it just gets a lot more busy and messy when you don't have an intention for every single card that you pull. Personally, I also shuffle between each card, because you can do it in a way where if you set the intention as you're shuffling or before you're shuffling that you're going to pull all 3 cards at one time, and you're going to answer like all 3 aspects of the question in one pull, and it's just going to be consecutive, then that's going to help charge that deck with that intention, so that when you actually pull the cards, that's going to be the information that you need to see. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to second guess yourself, because you already intended for those cards to be that. If you didn't set that intention ahead of time, then it can make things really messy. And that's where, personally, I would just pull the first card that pops up. Or if like multiple cards like fall out of the deck, for example, I only take the first card that's like face up. But again, this is something that you're going to develop over time yourself. Now, for the 3-card spreads, there is the energy that you are in right now, what's affecting you consciously, what's affecting you subconsciously. That's like this vertical spread. This is also one that I frequently do. And if you did my Lionsgate reading, this is something that I included in that as well. And then this is like that bridge card that I was telling you about. So where you're at, where your energy is going, and how to get there. You can also look at like what your current energy is at, or what is the current situation, what is it that you're really wanting, what was affecting you in the past, what's affecting you, or what's coming to you in the future. That can be like another way that you see it. To me, like I'm a very visual person, so like all of these like make sense to me. All of these spreads and like the specific position, the specific orientation of the card all have a meaning to me. But when you're just starting off, like if this feels overwhelming, you don't have to worry about it, right? Just pull a card. Just like start with the 1-card spread, start with the 2-card spreads, just like start playing with it. But you do want to make sure you have at least some intention of, you know, why you're pulling this card and like what is it trying to tell you in a situation. Now, this last 3-card spread here, it's the first card vertically, second card horizontally, third card outside of it. This is, to me, like what the energy of the situation is, what's challenging you, what's blocking you, like, or what's the lesson that you're trying to learn, right? And then number 3 is going to be like how to move out of that situation. So I use this a lot too in readings when people feel blocked from something that they want, and it helps reveal a lot of things of like how they can move forward from it. Because, you know, it doesn't help to just know why you're blocked. Oftentimes you might know that consciously, but it can help verify that you're actually on the right track. It can also tell you that you are off track, and what you think you're being blocked from is actually not what you're blocked from, and how to move forward from that. Now, if you got really excited about this episode and you're like, wait, I have so many questions, tell me more about this energetic protection thing, or I have questions about the wands, or I have questions about the archetypes, then you're definitely going to want to check out my course, Tarot and Twilight, that's coming October 2nd to 4th. If you're in Los Angeles or traveling to Los Angeles, then this is going to be hosted in my space, and you are more than welcome to join. There's only 12 spaces for the live participation, but because of popular demand, I'm also opening this up virtually so that you can join from anywhere in the world. The times are going to be the same. It's going to be live streamed, but this is going to be a 3-day weekend event from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where you're going to be able to have this very rare opportunity to immerse yourself in just learning tarot in community with people who are like-hearted and like-minded like you, who are really excited about tarot, what it can do for you, and also enjoy watching the Twilight Saga to welcome in Hoa 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 season, which is the best season ever. Registration for the course is open now until September 15th, and early bird registration closes on September 1st. So if you're a virtual participant and you register before September 1st, I will be sending you a physical surprise box to help you get into the energy of the space, to feel more connected with us throughout the weekend. And if you are one of the first 4 people who register for the in-person event, then you're going to have the opportunity to have a one-on-one reading with me during the course, which is also going to be the only time that I do one-on-one readings during the course. All the details can be found on my website at jensui.com/twilight. That's JENCUI.com/twilight. Or if you're listening to the podcast, it's going to be down in the description box below. If you're seeing this on social media, then if you comment Twilight on any of my Instagram posts, it's going to also send you the information that way. All right, friends, I hope that you found this episode helpful. It was so fun teaching you guys. I feel so lit up, and I'm really excited about this live in-person course. But I hope this inspires you to use tarot more often as a mirror for your soul, and that you go ahead and share this with somebody who you know also would appreciate that. Until next time, friends, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay well. I'll see you later.